So, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for this invitation. It's my pleasure to be here today. I have no slides for this short speech this morning. For those which will be there this afternoon at the beginning of the conference, I have a few slides about Clean Sky and also what we have done so far concerning this synergies with regions. However, I can maybe remind you in a few words what Clean Sky is and what it is about. So it's a joint technology initiative. Some of you are very well aware of this, of course, already, which was started in 2009, and so as a public-private partnership between the European Union and the European industry. So I would say most of the industrial companies in Europe are participating in Clean Sky, even more in Clean Sky 2 now than it was the case in Clean Sky 1. So its purpose is to go up to the end of this Death Valley of research that you were mentioning. So TRL 6, but we have a broad range of TRLs across many technologies and all disciplines, I would say, of aeronautical research. Clean Sky 2 was started at the middle of 2014, so 18 months ago. Now it's already running full speed, I would say, while Clean Sky 1 is not yet finished, so we have an overlap of more or less 2 years, where we have both the end of the demonstrators of Clean Sky 1, in particular this blade demonstrator, which is one of the flagships of Clean Sky, or the open rotor to which JKN is participating, and the start of Clean Sky 2 with a lot of calls already launched. Clean Sky 2 is a 4 billion program. I was hearing yesterday our colleagues from medicines, which have also a JTI, saying that they were in the parliament, in the European Parliament, they were saying they are the biggest public-private partnership in the world with 3.5 millions. We are bigger. But we are not competitors with the pharmaceutical industry. We can be when we fight for budgets, but once we have our budgets attributed, we are on our own, of course. So we managed in Clean Sky 1 so far to involve more than 600 participants of different categories, from the large leaders, which are say putting together the strategy and defining the main strategic technological targets. SAB is one of them. We have a second circle called Associates in Clean Sky 1, core partners in Clean Sky 2, with JKN, which is a very important player. And in many engines of I would say almost all of the engines of Clean Sky 1 or 2, you can find JKN somewhere. And a third circle, which is composed of partners, where you find a lot of SMEs and also research organizations and universities. And all in all, we have about 20 Swedish players in Clean Sky 1. I expect to have more in Clean Sky 2. Clean Sky 2 being more than twice bigger than Clean Sky 1 in total. So I don't know how many participants we will have. We don't have a target for that, but I would not be surprised if it was in the range of 1,000, which is a challenge also for the management, but this is another story. Concerning the structural funds, this is a new initiative we took. It was not part of Clean Sky 1, but in the regulation of Clean Sky 2, so the one which gave birth to this program in July 14, say an article has been introduced but from the initiative of the European Parliament and immediately supported, which is not always the case, by the Council and the Commission. An article encouraging the joint undertaking to define synergies with the structural funds program, which goes through the regions or the states. It depends for each. Well, there are many different situations, but the purpose is to support the regional development throughout Europe. So this synergy is supposed to exist at the highest level between Horizon 2020 program in general and the ESIF, European Structural and Investment Fund. But in Clean Sky, I must say we have been at the forefront of this experience. Not only because it's written in our regulation, not only to comply with an article of the regulation, but far more because we immediately believed that it was it could be a very rewarding initiative in order to and which would be also a win-win situation between Clean Sky and the regions. Clean Sky meaning the joint undertaking, but also all of the participants, the industry, which is part of it. It's time for the regions, as you know better than I, that to come to what is called smart specializations, and it's a new policy which has now to be followed by regions. So beyond having, say, the usual funding of infrastructure, roads, railways, airports, and so on, now the regions are encouraged to go more to innovation. So they are entitled to fund the infrastructures again, of course, also for research, but even projects. And this has started already, but we are arriving at the right moment, I would say, to bring these regions our suggestions, and to do so that we can have complementary funding, complementary activities. And then we have a huge possible leverage effect of the Clean Sky funding, and conversely. So I have absolutely no doubt that this can be a very fruitful initiative. And also beyond the structural funds themselves, there are other regional funds which are also managed sometimes together with the structural funds, and which bring an even wider and deeper leverage effect. So we started exactly 1 year ago, in fact, with the first signature of the first memorandum of understanding. It happened to be with the Midi-Pyrénées region, the Toulouse region in France, and then we had a few others, well, 6 in total. 2 in a row today, so it will bring us to 8. We have no particular target of say it's not a KPI of how many MOUs we will be able to sign, but we can guess that in average, well, say more or less, we are not targeting, of course, to sign MOUs with all, with each and every region in Europe. We are focusing on those which have an aeronautical background and capacity and network, or sometimes those which have not considered aerospace itself directly as a smart specialization, but things like materials or embedded systems, where you find aeronautics as an important player. So we have both categories in those with which we have signed already, or those with whom we are discussing. But I would say 25, maybe 30 regions as a maximum is what we are considering. And of course, it's not a surprise that among this number, 25, 30, we find these 2 Swedish regions, the name of which I will avoid to pronounce, despite I had a training of this, a rehearsal this morning with Göran, but if I can avoid. So, but West and East, this I can say. So we wish to have a very pragmatic approach, and so we started without on purpose, without writing a guidance of 200 pages on how it should work and what we should do and what process we should follow. We are learning by doing, really. And now with this 6 plus now 2 regions, we want also to identify what the best, the most practical ways to proceed. So in these MOUs, you know, it's a light definition which allows plenty of different scenarios. I will show you this afternoon. We proposed 5 different scenarios. It was 4. We added one more for putting together this funding sources. But we want to avoid having a complex mechanism and to multiply the bureaucracy of Clean Sky by the bureaucracy of structural funds. We rather wish to make it to keep it simple and rather than trying to fund together one given big action. We want to just to keep complementary so we have already started concrete actions with several regions, not all of the 6, but for instance with Midi-Pyrénées, they launched a call in November, which will be closed in a couple of weeks now. And this call, the content of the call, the themes were defined together with Clean Sky. So this means that within the JU we discussed, it was about systems. And more electric aircraft and avionics and so on. So we discussed with the industrial leaders involved in this area in Clean Sky, and then we contributed defining the area, the themes of the call with the Midi-Pyrénées region, and then we'll also be involved in the evaluation. So this is one possible scenario. There are others, and we in any case. If there is a 5th, 6th or 7th scenario also, why not? We know that each region is different from the other, and the regions on one side and Clean Sky on the other side have their own processes for calls, for awarding contracts and so on, and we don't want to merge this into a huge system. It would be totally impossible, in particular between Clean Sky and one region. You can imagine between Clean Sky and 10 or 20 regions, it's impossible. So we keep the systems existing on both sides, and we just try to adjust to each other in the most effective way we can. So I'm quite happy to have this signature today with these 2 regions. We are aware already of the main areas in which you intend to fund SME or larger companies or universities, say in manufacturing, materials, systems, and all this seems to be fitting very well with the Clean Sky 2 objectives. I also I think also the participation of the state in this discussion is very important. It's not always the case also, but I think it's a strong asset to have this consistency. And last but not least, the fact that you already have a cluster organized with maybe 50 entities. It's also an asset that we appreciate a lot, because it's already the basis for finding this kind of complementary activities. Thank you.